Welcome to Collide. The aim of this show is to attract an audience where faith and culture collide, pun intended, through intentional conversation. The clip you just heard was a small excerpt from the conversation we had on the show.
Today we have a special guest on the show. We discuss his upbringing and testimony regarding the church, his perspective on the church and culture, and the importance of unity within the body of Christ. I'm Neil.
And I'm Micah. And welcome to Collide, where faith meets culture.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Collide.
What is up, y'all?
We're so excited to be here. First off the top, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like, share, and a comment. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcast, give us a 5-star and review. On Spotify, give us a like or download, and we appreciate it so much. Micah, what's our social stuff? Our social media?
So on Facebook and Instagram, it's going to be The Collide Collective.
Mm-hmm.
On Twitter, it is at Collide Collect.
At Collide Collect.
So follow us. We're going to get dope information, dope content, things of that sort.
Mm-hmm.
And just be on the lookout for those things.
Yep. Micah, we have a guest.
Yes, we do.
Go ahead and introduce him.
I'm excited because it's our first guest.
Yeah.
On Collide.
Yeah.
So shout out to him. In the blue corner, standing at 6'2".
Soaking wet
at 160. I'm playing. He is a singer, a choreo, amazing worship leader, an amazing friend, dancer. He does it all.
Yes, sir.
He's single ladies.
Yes, sir.
So give him a holla.
If
you're holy enough. Oh my God.
Hey,
I just felt the anointing. No, I'm playing. But without further ado, man, let's give a welcome to Daryl Scott Butler.
Daryl Scott Butler.
Hey.
Daryl Scott Butler, man.
Man, so glad to have you on the show, my guy.
It's been a long time coming, bro.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're excited.
Y'all really doing this?
Yeah,
Yes, we are doing this.
It's a podcast for real.
Yeah. So, man, first and foremost, we just want to say thank you for coming on, dude.
Yeah, definitely appreciate the sacrifice, even though we had a kind of a hiccup at the beginning, but
You know, it's all right. Things happen. It's 2020. A lot is happening.
You say it's 2020.
I mean, this
That's
is nothing,
facts.
right? This is light work, right?
Yeah, I mean, we do this kind of all the time anyway, so
Yeah,
might
man.
as well record it and let them hear our conversations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, let's go ahead and get started, Micah. Go ahead and kick us off.
Yeah, man. So, like, really, we've been kind of doing this whole thing. Obviously, it's our first show. It's kind of very early on in the season, but I don't know if you're familiar with the other episodes, but basically, we're just kind of talking about faith and culture. And so, with you coming on, you have a lot of insight on a lot of things.
Mhm.
And so, I guess the first question off the bat would just be like, in terms of like your religion or your walk with God, Christianity, your relationship with God, when did that actually begin?
Well, like many people, at least in the black culture, or well, any culture really, but mostly in the black community, we are pretty much raised in the church. So
Yeah.
since, I came out, I was in the, Holy of Holies.
Using
and
the-
like
using the
soaking
third
that in,
pew.
just right there, soaking that all in and like,
Yeah.
been doing this literally since, I was came out. And so, church has always been my life, actually. Just always in church. That's what we did on Sunday. Was at everybody's rehearsals, which that wasn't my choice at the time.
Oh, we still isn't a
But
choice.
It's still now it's a choice, and
Let's make that
that's
abundantly clear. It
interesting-
still ain't a choice, bro.
No, yeah, that's yeah. Well, it's still a choice now because I don't have to. But anyways,
True.
yeah, just grew up in church like all my life. That's just what we do, especially in the black community. All my black people, hey, they know that's what we do. We raised in church. You're not going to find anybody that's black that has not been raised in the church.
True.
But grew up in the church. But as I got older and like circumstances changed, my life changed. Like I moved to Vegas because I'm from California.
Okay.
And moved to Vegas a couple years ago and like started to go to another church and actually got saved for myself because it's more so like your decision versus like what your family is used to doing and like what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I fully made it a decision to like actually follow God, follow Christ, and like accept him as my Lord and all of that. And ever since then, I've been rocking with the King.
Hey,
Rocking with the King.
Jesus
Yes,
is King. Yes.
Hey,
sir.
yes he is.
That's dope. I think just in and of itself, that dynamic where you say you're born and raised in church. So in and of its sense, it's like you almost. I guess the question now would be, because the same thing that we kind of answered in previous episodes, but the same question I want to ask you is just like, when did your relationship with God become real? Like that genuine.
It definitely. When did I move out here? I moved out here in 2009.
Yeah.
I've been out here for the end of 2009, so technically 2010, because it was like November, I think we moved, and then I started to come. I was actually out here for a whole year before I actually started going to church, only just because like I was in denial about like moving into Vegas. So
Oh, you were upset.
oh, very
Pressed.
like that was a whole culture reset for me, like culture shock. Like moving from California, which California is right there, but it's still like very different from Vegas.
And as a young person, probably.
Yeah, and I was in the middle of high school, so like it was just like, what? Like, why did I move? Like, all my people was out there, all my family's out there, like, and so moving out here literally for a whole year, I was not trying to do anything, and I would always be forced to try to come to church, and like a lot of times I was forced because I'm still like kid, I didn't have no choice. But if I was like in a church, like I think I visited like 2 churches or something like that, I was not invested. I didn't want, don't look at me, don't talk to me.
You was that kid.
Head looking down. I don't want to talk to nobody. I just don't want to be here. Like, and so for the longest time, like I just kind of shut off and like was in the back, like keeping to myself. And then like eventually, once like the reality of like you ain't going nowhere set in, that's when I started to open myself up. And then I found a church and started to like come more and like really like invest myself and really like actually sit in church and pay attention. And then I was just like, like, it's easy to believe that you're saved because you grew up in a church and like that's what we do. Like you kind of like almost are like saved-ish because like, my family's saved. And
saved
so,
by default.
Saved by default.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Amazing grace. To pay your tithes.
By default. And so that's just, the mentality of that is like kind of how I've always been with a lot of people actually who's like raised in the church. Yeah. And then I can't remember the exact month or time or date, but I know it was like I was in high school. Like, and then I was just like, I'm actually down for this. Like I'm actually for real down for
committed
it.
To
yeah,
it,
like, and
surrendered.
I'm like, let me actually, and so nobody forced me because a lot of times like it's forced onto people.
Yeah.
Especially in the church, like you got to go to altar call. You got to go up there for this. And you got to, and it's not like a decision, which is very bad in the community, in the culture, like black culture and black community. Like it's a lot of stuff is forced in like religion.
Wow.
And instead of giving them a choice, even at a young age, like we're programmed to go to church. We know that's what we do on a Sunday. And
in this house, we don't.
Yeah. And it's like, I get that to a degree.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Filipinos too, though. We do that.
Yeah.
So.
See. Yeah. So like, it's just kind of like that's what we do. Like you got to go to church. And a lot of times like when, we get older, we kind of turn away from it because, it was kind of forced and we're kind of sick of it. And like, we go and like start to do crazy stuff, which, you're going
to have wild out moments.
Yeah. Because it's
so like unseemingly, it just kind of overnight as you consistently stuck with it, became real to you.
Yeah. And then like, especially like, as I like allowed myself to really like be invested in it and open myself up to it, God really revealed himself to me in ways that is like, oh, that ain't nothing but God, because who else knows what I'm going through? Who else knows like what I've had to deal with, like showing me how to deal with it, like who else? Like I've had like literally like encounters to where like, oh, this is all the proof I need actually.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And so I'm like, why not? Like if you're like really showing who you are to me and I have no choice but to like, there's no other choice for me. It's just like I have to just accept it. Like you're giving me everything and showing me everything I need to like prove, oh, this is for real. So that's why I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this for real. Like, and now I went up to the altar call myself and made that choice for myself, and ever since then I've just been saved. So like I would say 2010, where I like 2010, probably 2011 or whatever, 2010 probably.
So about like 10 years ago. That's cool.
And so like I like for real made the decision myself, and like
so you just changed from like from that point on. You weren't just saved.
Yeah, I wasn't saved by default.
Yeah, you weren't saved by default, quote unquote. Saved.
116 unashamed saved.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. That's just crazy because when you said all that, just it's interesting because you said you was kind of quiet and like don't talk to me because knowing you, I mean, I'm pretty sure our viewers will see that too, or whoever's listening. Like we banter back and forth, whether it's me and you or my brother and you, especially you and my brother.
Yeah.
Y'all clown.
Yes.
But let
Y'all
me
clown
just say,
hard.
dude, this
Long time
relationship
coming.
actually was a long time coming.
Long time coming.
Because I didn't like him. I didn't like
He
him.
didn't like me by default.
Yeah.
And the
something
word
like
of the day
that.
is default.
And we went through a lot of things, but we just got older and we just grew up, honestly.
It's very interesting how
Yeah.
like their relationship actually grew. Actually, it's crazy because like I believe I talked to your girlfriend about the situation where
Yeah.
it was like we were actually bumping heads for like a long time.
Yeah.
And looking in
And
retrospect, I don't even know why.
I don't even know why either, actually. And there was a lot of times, and for me, like if somebody doesn't like me, I'm not gonna like them out of default.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep saying default. I guess that's the word of the day. But because like it's just like I feel like that's a natural response in like a kid and like
Yeah.
kiddish mentalities. Like if you don't like me, I don't like you too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't have no legit reason of why I don't like you. And then
Yeah.
like everything you do just irritates me because
Right.
that now I have an enemy, so to
Right.
speak.
Uh-huh.
And so which in my head and in my heart, that's never what I want with anybody. Like
Right.
why we're in the same space. I see you all the time. Why are we doing this?
Beefing.
But it was actually interesting. Like with Micah, I don't think I told you this, but I told your girlfriend that I had a dream that we were actually really, really good friends.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of that,
Wow.
and I remember telling her when we was doing like the fourth. What's the little
How long-
fireworks booth?
Yeah.
And I was
Really?
like, I had
Oh,
a
wow.
dream last night
I'm
that
I'm
me and
dead,
him were
bro.
like best friends, and like
Wow.
and kind of how we are now.
That's
I
what
had
I'm
a dream
saying.
about
That's
that very back
hilarious.
then, and so when I had that dream, it was vivid.
See,
it was
the
like,
Lord works in
it
mysterious
was-
He
ways.
works in mysterious ways, yo.
It has to be the Lord, like, because we were literally going at it all the time.
Y'all
It-
would go
it
at each
literally-
other's throats.
And in the midst of that, like, I had a dream and it was vivid, like to this day, and I felt it, and I was like,
That's funny.
wow.
oh. So after that dream, I kind of like dialed back a little bit of my
Yeah.
energy towards that because
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I think this might be something. I just think everything is just kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a little weird space. So I kind of dialed back that type of energy, and I think that's probably why,
Yeah.
And all this was going on while we're all serving on the platform,
Mhm.
doing praise and worship together.
yes,
Yeah.
So that in itself is like just
That's what I'm saying. We've all grown up. And
grown up.
to be honest, like I've made a lot of mistakes too, but I think the beauty of the grace of God is that even in our shortcomings, like he still picks us
Yeah.
up. And I've learned to grow accustomed to grace, because a lot of the times church people won't have grace. We didn't have grace towards each other.
yeah.
Sometimes personally, I'm relatively stoic, so I'm not really moved by what I see. I'm very just like indifferent almost.
Yeah.
But sometimes people will take that as like, you don't rock with me. And there's certain things that I do that are very like blunt.
Yeah.
And so, but it all goes to say that, when you extend grace towards somebody, like the relationship that we have now is like a testimony of like, God's grace.
Definitely. Oh yeah. for sure.
Because, I'm just like, yeah. Anyways. But yeah, I didn't even know that actually. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, we having confessions on.
We having confession time now.
Oh, it's confessions now. These are my confessions.
Yeah. Shout out Usher. But yeah, that's cool. I think so with all that being said, you've done church, you've done that whole gig when it came to, you knew what was expected. So, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. So like in terms of everything, like what is church and faith and culture, what does that mean to you personally? When you think about those things, do they connect? Is it very much apart?
I feel like for the longest time, there has always been a separation of faith and culture and church
Okay.
and culture. And that's why it's so like evident with like the type of people that, you come in contact with at a church setting, and like the type of people that don't go to church because of the, what's expected of like certain people,
Mhm.
and back in the day, it was like so different. Like I wouldn't dare come in church with a shirt and some jeans on a Sunday. Like that was just
Sunday
not
morning,
allowed.
yeah.
Or a hat or like even have my hair like this. Like it's just like nope. You need to come in here clean cut. You need to come in here fresh in a suit. You better come in here with some pointed toe shoes on with the matching.
let me-
socks.
Sunday's best, bro. Yeah.
Like-
Go ahead, break it down. Yeah.
No, I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna say that all those sizes that you're hearing is because it's just like it's so accurate and it's just
Yeah.
like so unnecessary.
And it's just like that's
the
right
listeners.
there. It was just
Right.
the separation in itself. Like
Yeah.
this is how you have to come. This is how you have to look when you come into.
Mhm.
So you're saying your perspective of church was like you have to get together before you
Exactly.
you have to be put together before you.
You have to make sure you're good before you come in, and a lot of times that keeps people away.
What invokes that then? I was gonna ask. Why do people have that mentality? If Jesus says, "Come as you are," right? why do people feel like they need to be put together before they come into church? What causes that?
It's another program. Like that's what we're programmed to think. Like I said, like we in our families. Like for me, I couldn't come to church dressed any kind of way. Or I couldn't come to church if I just wanted to wear jeans and a shirt. Like that was not a thing. Wow. You have to wear this. You have to look like this. You have to present yourself like this. Thus being programmed to think, oh, I have to be clean. I have to be perfect and look this type of way to be accepted in church. And in my experiences, which a lot of people that I've talked to that I run into, like they all experience the same type of things. Like if you don't look like this, you receive this type of treatment in the church, and thus them not coming back, because the whole come as you are thing is kind of just a saying more so than like a lifestyle and like what churches like actually, you know, portray and actually live by. Yeah. And so
that's interesting, because I wanted to ask you, just to add on top of that, like, at what point did you just like not well, I want not to like come across like we're like rebellious or anything, but at what point did you just not care? Well, like you just like, okay, I'm just gonna come how I come. I'm here to serve God. I'm here to do my thing. I mean, we all do praise and worship together. So like,
I think identity, right, is a huge thing.
Yeah. So like, at what point did you find your identity in Christ and be like, okay, well, this is who I am. I know I'm serving Jesus. Yeah. And like, when did that happen for you?
Well, for me, like, even I remember as a young age when I had to like wear suits or like before suit, which there's nothing against suits. Like I'll put on a good suit now and true. Like look, you know, clean and cut and be ready to, you know, do what I need to do. Yeah. But if I want to wear a shirt, I should be able to wear a shirt. And like I've always had that type of mentality, even as a kid. Like, why I gotta do this? Like, why I gotta look like this? Or why can't I wear my hoodie? Like, I just want to wear my hoodie, and I want to come to church, but because I can't wear, it's just like the whole mentality of that. And so I've always had that in the back of my head growing up. Like, I don't like that I have to look like this or I have to wear a suit. Like, it's more, again, another like making my own choice and making my own decision to like, you know. And so, I've always had that in the back of my mind. And I think like as I got older and like, you know, trying different things and like, you know, finding out who you are and like all these influences, blah, blah, blah. Like it just kind of happened almost. Like I just got fed up to a sense, not in like a angry way, but in a just like a,
you had to grow up, you had to go through some things.
Like I went through some things. I had some, you know, experiences going on in life with the church. And I hit rock bottom to an extent, and it was just a lot of learning about like myself and like what I've endured and allowed to and like go through, and like a lot of stuff like I didn't have to go through, but I allowed it to happen because like, you know, out of respect, and I have to respect this, and I have to respect my elders, which that's no like shade to that. Like, you know, obviously we live by that, but it was just a lot of like people forcing identities on me, and I'm trying to uphold that versus like, what do you want to do?
Yeah,
like,
seeing how God really calls you to be.
Yeah. And so, and after like I hit rock bottom, and I was like, I don't want to say pick myself up, but I'm like, you know, finally at a place where I'm like, all right, there's nowhere to go but up. I started to like, you know, like pinpoint certain things to where like I feel this type of way in a negative way versus like, okay, this is the process of that, and this is why you feel this way. I don't want to accept that anymore. I don't want to live like that anymore. And so if I want to wear a shirt, I'm going to wear a shirt. And if you're going to be mad, that's you being mad, and that's you having your own opinion about it. And I'm just going to do what I want, because at the end of the day, it's not going to deter me from what I'm coming here for. I'm coming here for like my walk with God and my walk, you know, with, you know, relationships in the church, and like I'm coming here for me. And so, and a lot of times when I've come to like my church, my home church, we get preached all the time. It's come as you are. They sang it for years. Come as you are. Blah blah blah. And it kind of just stuck with me. Well, I'm gonna come as I am. And if I want to wear a shirt and if I want to wear pants, I'm gonna do that. That doesn't mean I'm a certain way. I feel some type of way, or I, you know, like.
And it goes to show, not to get hyper spiritual, but like Jesus, he met people with all walks of life. But then when it came to the Pharisees and the people that knew better, he was tough on.
Yeah, that's true.
He was tough on. So it's just really interesting to see that.
Basically, in one word, like all that's just like bet.
Yeah.
Like literally all that in one word. Like, I mean, to summarize, I mean, we're not summarizing like, but you literally said,
it's just like, you know what, I'm tired of it. Like why am I going to continue to allow myself to live in a mindset where I'm uncomfortable, or where I'm like, you know, walking on eggshells or having my stomach in knots because somebody said something or somebody is looking at me a certain way, or somebody is like, have their own opinions. And Christians, always got their opinions, and they always got to pull you aside and
true.
let you know this and that. Which if I'm coming in here look at a mess, please do let me know. Or if I'm coming in here with something out of line, that's a different story. I like
to call them like holy police.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
In quotations, I'm gonna do that so people know.
Yeah, holy police,
holy police. No, but that's crazy because and it's, I hate to say it, but like the pressure's on us because we're on the platform, because we're leading people into worship. Like it's almost expected out of us to act a certain way.
Yeah.
And let people expect us to do certain things or dress a certain way or talk or speak a certain way. And it's just crazy because people forget to realize that
they forget our humanity.
Yeah, they forget that we're people and that we're not on this pedestal, even though, and it's crazy because we're young and yet they want us to act older or sometime from before our time.
Yeah, and I think it kind of relates when you think of celebrities, they're kind of like on a spotlight. Yeah. So they have to make their mistakes, all their successes, yes, but all the mistakes too are like on them.
Yeah.
But see, what makes it worse is that because we're in church, we don't have as much grace either.
That's interesting.
Yeah. We actually have it more tough than celebrities do, because when celebrities make their mistakes, that's just them.
It's almost like expected.
It's like Kanye being Kanye.
Yeah.
Right. You almost expect him to act crazy, but let's say that someone like me, or if Micah, or if we messed up, if we got drunk one night, or if we slept with someone, we got someone pregnant, oh my God, now we got to get sat down.
Which happens a lot in the culture.
No, well, here's the thing, church culture, you get sabbatical, right? That's the proper term, but we all know that as getting sat down.
Yeah.
Sat down.
Yeah.
Sat down. And life happens.
It's not to say that we need to be held accountable, but I think in retrospect, looking back, I mean, there's a lot of things where you question, is it like a political thing? You question the heart of it, right?
Absolutely.
In terms of everything.
Yeah.
But kind of segueing into it then, we've been through church a lot. What are some of the pros and cons that you can say about church? What do you think? In terms of church?
Let's start with cons. I mean, pros. Ooh, sorry. Pros. Start with the good. Start with at least one good thing.
If you really allow yourself to know who God is and really open yourself up to that idea of a relationship, He will reveal Himself to you.
Yeah.
And in ways that only you know that it's Him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that way it's not just a show or something that you just do on a Sunday. It really will become a lifestyle if you allow it to. That I feel that's a pro. What else? You meet a lot of different people that go through the same things that you go through, and so you're able to have that help and have at least a way of dealing with it, or somebody to connect with
that can resonate with you. You kind of
and that can help you more on a spiritual level versus somebody you're just talking to in a regular everyday life.
Yeah.
And they may not give you the right information or the right
so in terms of mentorship, though,
yeah,
you get that
you meet a lot of different people, and it's very much for experience. You have to just experience it for yourself to really know, but you also have to make sure that you're open enough to
receive
really,
those things and really go through it.
really do it, because it's easy to play church. It's easy to come up and oh, praise God, and then go and do your own thing.
Yeah.
It's easy to do those things, but if you really open yourself up and really invest yourself, it's gonna be something that's actually gonna change your life, in real life, not just a movie type thing, or you see that no, in real life your life will change.
Wow.
Well, that's crazy that you brought that up, as far as letting it do its thing, because we were talking about this, I know, before we actually started the show, and we were in the gas station talking about how we played church so well. But if people if people want to play church, that's on them, but there's a reason why people act like that, and there's a reason why God moves out the way He does. And I'm just so glad that you brought that up, because even though we can play church so well, for the most part, it is a genuine thing that we're hey, God,
it's a heart thing.
It's a heart thing, because at the end of the day, I'm really glad that you said it, because it's at the end of the day, it is a heart thing.
It is.
at the end of the
And
day.
it's a great thing. Like, and we make fun only because we've been doing this for like ever. Like, all of
We
us
gotta
in
find
this
a way
room,
to get
like,
through it sometime. You know what I mean?
we've been doing this since we was small, like
Well, the
very
church
very
is-
little.
Yeah.
And we so like
Yeah.
even like people like who's not us that does church, they understand. Like they play around like that too. Like we just done church for so long. Like
Yeah.
it's hard sometimes, but we have to find fun in it where we can, so that way it's not
Facts.
always just like so serious. Because
And
like
that's the
church,
thing too. There's a stigma that church is so serious, but like we're people. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So I
like-
mean, we laugh at things. We're not like, we'll dive a little deep into it later on. But in terms of like the perception that the church gets within the church and outside the church, it's just
Within the
all
church.
discombobulated, bro. It's just the
Yeah.
craziest thing to me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's go ahead and take a break right here. And we'll be right back, y'all. So we'll see you in a few minutes.
yeah.
Ooh, yes, sir.
Come on.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Man his image. Yes, sir. What's up, y'all? Collide Collective here. And want to say thank you, of course. But also,
Yes.
also,
Let them know.
we got to shout out our affiliate and our sponsor, Lamb Jam Productions, LLC. Because what we finna do?
We finna jam.
For the Lamb! Hey! Help me, Holy Ghost! Hey! Hallelujah! 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 Thank you, Craig!
When we had brainstormed what we were gonna talk about, right?
Yeah.
You always challenging me, we're always challenging ourselves. You're like, dude, we gotta go deep, man. We gotta dig a little bit more.
Yeah,
And so when I talked about the topic we should talk about, you're like, that's cool, that's cute.
yeah.
That's cute. I was like, oh, okay. So this man made me go in my prayer closet. I was praying. I was like, Lord. I was really seeking God because I want to, hear his voice. I wanted to
Yeah, for
navigate
sure.
through. So I was navigating through, and today we're just gonna talk about it.
We gonna have,
So I'm gonna segue into it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah,
about
so
it. Let's do it.
We're gonna talk about
Welcome back to Collide, everybody. We
What up,
have
y'all?
our special guest, Daryl Scott Butler.
Ow.
Daryl Scott Butler. And we were just talking about a little bit of his
Yo.
we're t-
I love it. I
we
love
were
it.
yeah.
We were talking about pros and cons of church culture.
And we were talking about his background as well.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And we were stuck on the pro side. All the good stuff.
Yeah, we can still talk about good stuff if you want.
Yeah, we can still keep on going on the pro side, but if you
Or
have
you can really dig deep and go
on the con
to that
side,
dark side.
it goes either way. But I do want to see, just gauging you out. What do you feel like some of the things the church can either improve or not improve or whatever?
I don't think I named a lot of pros, which there are a lot of pros that I probably didn't mention. I just at the forefront of my mind, that's what I came up with.
Yeah, you talking about community, finding
Yeah.
good people.
Yeah.
Something that you have to experience.
You really have to experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
Like you can't just
Booty shake halfway
you
into
really
it.
can't. There's no halfway, and that's in the Bible.
Yeah, Jesus, he said,
You either in it or you're not.
Forsake
I'm
all.
paraphrasing, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
so either
yeah,
in it or
Daryl
you're
chapter
not.
5, verse 7.
And you can't really base your experience off of like a 50 type of you can't go in halfway. You have to be all in or not. That's in the Bible. If you ain't saved, to say the least, like I said before, you're either in it or you're not.
Right.
You know, so it's really that simple, and there's a lot that goes into it. But to paraphrase, but there's a lot of cons that I can name only just because of my experiences and being in church for so long. I know there's a lot of bad experiences that I personally had and bad experiences that I've heard from other people in the church that kind of just either had the same experience or a different experience. And this is in no way reflect how I view church.
I was gonna say I want to get to disclaimer right quick.
Yeah.
Disclaimer right quick, Mike. You gotta help me out with this one.
Hey.
The views expressed on this show do not reflect the views or the expressions of our church that we attend.
This is our
Yes.
professional,
This is just
unlicensed opinion.
Professional, unlicensed opinion.
Fair use in play. Ha
so just to throw that out there.
Yeah, because in Hebrews it talks about let's not forsake the gathering, the assembling of
Yeah.
the brethren. In Hebrews 10:25, I believe. So it's necessary. But like you were saying, there's some interesting things that
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that happens. It's just life, but in a different way. I guess
it's made of people. Right?
Yeah. And it's like we do life like you said, like a lot of times people perceive church as like, these beings that are like perfect, which that is in no way, shape, or form.
my
The
God.
truth
man.
is just we have more of the answers.
My God in
And so-
Zion. Hey,
Yeah, God.
the answer.
God.
God, I love your word.
Oh
Hey,
my gosh.
God.
if I catch the Holy Ghost, okay, that's all I gotta say.
That's all. Yeah,
That's
that is-
it. Dot.
We don't need no organ. We don't
Yeah.
need no A flat. Oh,
Well,
hey,
look, I think you
thank
need to
you,
invest
God.
in that actually, an organ button or something.
For real.
We're
But
working on it. We're working on it.
It's sad, and that's why I'm like, all right, I want to talk about it. But it's sad because like
Yeah.
I know of a lot of people who've like turned away and like because of their experience in church, like it just like scarred them, which I've got scarred too, but I have a little bit more of like tougher skin just because of like what my personal experiences that I've gone through. So I dealt with it in a different way, but just what can I start off with? Like the judgment. Like there's always judgment is like the biggest
Yeah.
Holy
negative,
police,
the biggest con,
toxic,
the biggest
hyper spiritual.
That's like the first, in my opinion.
Grody.
Like, of
But
what
you would
it's like.
think as a place that would, as a place that's for people to gather
Mhm.
and to help heal people, you would think that'd be
You would think.
You would think.
So let's get into a little bit deeper.
You would think that'd be the place
why-
that you'd be least judged.
Why is that?
I can't even tell you. That's like asking why the water is wet. Like because
what?
like
All right.
we have the great. I mean, it's like we have the greatest example of how to be graceful towards others.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you learn that in the Bible. Since you was a little kid, Jesus loved you. This I know, for the Bible
For
tells
the
you
Bible tells me so.
Come on.
That wasn't just like Jesus loves this person named
Right.
Christine, and that's it. Like that's just like on a simple type of level. And I'm
Facts,
just
bro.
I'm making fun, but it's just like we have the greatest example of grace and the greatest example of love, and how he deal with situations in the Bible.
Yeah.
And somehow we just miss the mark of like
Wow.
being graceful all the time.
Right.
And it's just like I don't even know how to explain it because like I've experienced that type of stuff like all the time, still to this day. To this day.
To this day.
To this day.
To this
But
day.
the thing is do you think the reason why people are so judgmental is because they're kind of like
It's
us?
a reflection of what they're going through.
Well, like they've grown up in church,
Oh,
and this is
my
just me
God.
thinking,
So
right?
many nuggets, y'all.
like
This is just me thinking, right? Because they've grown up in church. You think it's because they've just almost, I want to say, hardened their heart.
mhm.
They've just become so
Wow.
used to routine. They become so used to, well, this is church and blah blah blah. It's like, and I said this in the last episode. I'm
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah, we've been echoing it a lot. Yeah.
It's like-
go ahead.
It's like we're almost like just a glorified clique at this point.
Mhm.
And so, like, this is just that's what I was saying the last episode, and I want to know what your thoughts are when I say something like that. Is like, do you think it's because we've done it for so long and we're just a glorified clique at this point? Is the reason why people are so judgy and so judgmental?
And it's like yes, and I feel like also it's like a generational thing. Like
Okay.
it's kind of like you grew up in like an environment where it's this way, and then you pass it on, and you pass it on, and so like I feel like it's like an experience that like in the older generation they've dealt with, and so they passed down that same type of mentality. Maybe it's intentional, maybe it's not, but they just subconsciously or whatever the word is, just start to inflict that type of mentality or that type of like attitude towards people. And like I said, it may be intentional, it may not be, but that's just kind of like how the culture has been.
Yeah.
To where like I've gone through this turmoil, I've gone through all this time, and now I'm in a good place, and now I can either show grace towards people or I can be like be judgmental. And a lot of times people like fall into the category of judgmental.
I was talking about
because
that too. You see it where like leaders that are successful, they
they've
extend that
gone
grace.
they've gone through the storm in a matter of words, and then now they're on a pedestal to where it's like, oh, you're not where I'm at. And so
Right.
it's like, and they may not even verbally say that,
So they
but
like
they're-
lead through their trauma.
yeah.
yeah.
And like I said before,
Oh,
like
Robert.
it's kind of like
Ooh.
a reflection of like what they've gone through and what they did. And it's like,
Ugh.
or somebody judged them hard as they were growing in their relationship with God or whatever the case may be in life, and so they fall into that category of like judging, and
Wow.
it's just like a cycle that continues and continues and continues. And then like some people like us, you're either strong enough to persevere and push through, or some people like leave.
Yeah.
And that's like a con. Like
That's the
And again,
worst.
that is sad because when you said it, like people that are strong enough, like bro, think about just think about the gravity of what you just said, bro. Like people that are strong enough to handle that.
and
like,
it's not a and it's
that
not a
shouldn't
big
be a
group.
bro,
thing.
should that even
It's
be
not even. It's
should that even be why is that a
No.
thing?
Like I said, and a lot of it is just like, I don't want to say it is a God thing, but it's like a lot of times, like, what doesn't kill you make you stronger, like the whole type of thing. Like a lot of us who like experience that and are still here, we've already been through a lot of stuff to where like
good growing pains.
we know how to like push through, and like we know the bigger goal, especially us who've gone through, like who've been in church for like ever. Like we know, like, well, I just gonna have to see God and that just be it. But a lot of people who are coming in, who are not saved, who are kind of like still trying to figure it out or on the fence, like they don't have that type of mindset to be like, okay, well, that's just, I'm gonna just be hurt, but I'm gonna just push through and just like seek God on my own, blah blah blah. A lot of the natural mind and the natural person is not gonna accept that.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, oh, that's how you act, cool, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know?
Basically,
And rightly so.
And rightly so. I can't be mad at
so.
that. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that I've talked to where I'm like, well, in different churches that I've been in, and like,
No mismanaged tithes.
yeah, and like their whole
Oh.
misconception
that's
of
so
that.
touchy. Ooh.
There's just so many factors, and it's hard to like pinpoint like one topic because there's so many things that tie into like one decision of either staying or leaving. And it's just like,
It's a glorified clique.
yeah. And it's like,
I
even
hate to
talking
say that.
about like,
glory.
But I hate to say that though.
but it's even talking about like how we were talking about like wardrobe and like how you're supposed to perceive yourself. Like people can come in here, a girl can come in with a mini skirt
Yeah.
and a tube top,
I don't
and be
think that-
judged the
yeah.
whole time. And it's like, what if she's trying to
But
get to know
then, like,
Jesus
the
too?
dude rolling up in the suit was doing his own dirt
Yeah.
the night before.
And you don't know what her experiences are, like, but you automatically judge her because you can see her body, or she has too much skin showing, and it's like that whole mindset of that. And another thing that I feel like is a con is that like nobody's holding each other accountable in those situations. I feel like a lot of people in the church let that ride and let it just happen,
Sweep under the rug.
and it's
Yeah.
like,
And it just disappears.
and you wonder why people are leaving. Like you
Yeah.
wonder why there's like this whole, it's easy to
Fallout.
perceive church as a certain way. Like it takes one bad experience to change somebody's mind about the church. And that's why you see people online, you see people that, oh, I'm never going to church because every time this and that, or somebody says something about the church, it's always like, this is why I don't go to church because they had a bad
There's
experience.
actually a book that is focused on, growing. And that was one of the points that they made was that it just takes one bad experience.
It's it.
It can be like, he got practical with it, it's like if the restrooms were dirty, right? You wouldn't want to eat at that restaurant.
No, absolutely.
So it's like one of those things, but then even like it was just echoing so hard when he said that, because it's true. All it takes.
All it takes is one bad experience,
One bad
and then you
thing.
lose them.
Dang.
And I know this and I see it. And well, for the longest time, like in the church that I've been in, and like I've been serving and like doing all that thing, and like life was great at a point in time when I was younger serving. Like I wanted to do that because like when I got saved, like when you first get saved, that fire is like insane. It's like, God, I love your word.
Hey, but
whatever you want me to do,
but when that
do it.
flame dies down, when the
Or
post
when you gotta like stir up the pot.
oh yeah, there you
rekindle
go.
the flame.
Rekindle
Plug.
that flame.
I'm just playing. I'm just like, it's like, when you get saved, that fire is just so like big. And like for me, when I got saved, I'm like, I want to do it all.
Yeah.
Everything that
lay
I can
hands on the
do.
sick.
Yeah.
Did you go to like Peru trips, mission trips? And stuff? Yeah.
I
he
did all
it
that. Like I wanted to sing, I wanted to dance, I wanted to act, I wanted to work with the kids, I wanted to, I literally did it all. Like
an
once
usher.
I was a
Drama team,
I didn't want to
dance
do usher
team.
because I didn't want to catch nobody.
Okay, you right.
I ain't doing
But
all
he
of
in
that.
the weight room now. He waited, y'all.
Yeah,
But that
you too
don't
light skin for
mean-
that. You too light skin for
that
that,
don't
bro.
mean I want to do all of that. I still
Yeah.
don't want to do all that. They be
Okay.
like, "Can you help?"
No.
Nah. They be like, "You didn't help us catch," and you're right.
Yeah.
Like, that's not my ministry.
That's
Sorry,
not my
man.
ministry. I'm dead.
Like, but I literally did it all. I was in the
Yeah.
bookstore and on my off days. Like
Wow.
I was literally, if I didn't have nothing to do, I was at the church serving because that's how much I loved God and that's what I wanted to. Everything I can do,
it was
I'm
giving
gonna
back
do
to
it.
God and also the community, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was literally here I remember all choir. I was in everybody's choir.
Oh, talk to me about choir.
I did it all because like I love God that much.
Yeah.
And so I forgot where I was going with this, but
Is it blinking? Is that supposed to be
I
okay?
keep going,
Okay.
okay.
You didn't see that, yo.
Anyways, but yeah, it goes to show that you've done all these things, but so you basically were just elaborating on the fact that you know it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's a crazy con though. But
It is, and it's crazy because even though we're 3 episodes in, and it feels like we're reiterating the same point, but I feel like we can't reiterate this point enough.
yeah, you can't seem to get away from it, dude.
Because I thought at the end of the day, right, the church is made of people.
Right.
We're trying to reach people, and so the last thing we should be doing is trying to turn those people away, and the last thing that we should be doing is judging those people that want to turn their life around and give their life to God and have a relationship with Him
in any way that it looks like.
Right. And it might not look like, it might not look like what you want it to be, or it might not look like what I want it to be, but you got to start somewhere.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, when you have that relationship, you're going to do things that please God, and you're not going to do things that are going to hurt Him.
Right.
So you, by default, just because you have a relationship with God, you're going to turn your life around anyway.
But to make it, even more solidified too, and to play even like, I don't want to say devil's advocate, but on the flip side of things, God demands of us holiness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So regardless of what, we ain't even trying to minimize this thing. Like, to be a Christian is to be all in it. To live right. Do the things of God. Love one another. Live holy. You know what I mean? Abstain from evil. Anything. You know what I mean? And so I think that's that too. So you don't want to negate that. But like I said, as people, in Romans it talks about that too, where we fall short to God's standard. We're never gonna measure up. So it just points more to the fact that we need that grace. We need Jesus. He was that answer. And so I think it was a good thing that you pointed those things out. But kind of segueing away from it and kind of going into like everything else, and because we were kind of talking about it a little bit more, but in terms of everything, church now as we see it, how does it stand and sit in the world?
Like,
when it came to like George Floyd and things of that sort.
What was the church's place? Like, and something like that. Oh man, this might be a long. This might be a long episode, yo. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And in terms of everything, like, do you think the church as a whole has been doing a good job?
Oh no, it flopped.
Ooh.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Churches everywhere.
Speak it. Go ahead.
Did not do, and this was like, how do I say this? If there was ever a time for the church to be filled and to like be what it needed to be as far as like that place of hope, it would have been now. And I feel like once everything started to get exposed with like, white supremacy, black culture, Black Lives Matter, all of that stuff, and like just like the truth about all that is happening, like this should have been the time when the church should have been there, should have been present, ready to go. And I know we're in a pandemic. I'm tired of saying that word. I'm over it. But it's just like, if any time that you could get people in the church house, it would have been now.
It should have been then. Should have been.
That's what I kept telling people. It could be the church's finest moments.
Right. It's like, and not in a showy type of like any type of way, but like, because for me, like, I believe it. And so like, I'm looking for like, if I'm going through something, I'm looking for the church in a like, okay, I really need help.
Right.
And if you don't give me that help, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so, which a lot of people who are not saved, like I said, you only got one experience. You only got one shot.
One shot.
And that's it.
Would you capture it?
Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
true though.
And so I feel like churches everywhere. I've not seen any churches, which I'm not, really like,
Well, in terms of everything, it definitely, the people could have stepped up to the plate.
Stepped up a lot more.
Yeah.
And then it feel like when it was their time that, churches did release statements or did say this or release the video or whatever the case may be, it was almost too late.
Yeah.
Because like the fire is kind of already being like trying to be put out.
Or it was seen as damage control.
Yeah. Like, okay, it's not going anywhere. So let me see what I can do.
I think a lot too, though, had to deal with people inside the church. Yet again, we keep revisiting this, but it's just like
this alone,
we don't represent Jesus Christ good enough as a church. Me, you, we the church, like we don't represent Jesus the way that he should be represented
at all.
And it's very like sad and disheartening, but it's a cold reality. And it's not to say that we can do better. Like, of course we can do better. Of course we can, but it's still like the weight of it, just to me, it's very heavy because it's not something that I pride in. Like, I want to do better. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to second fiddle to anything else?
The thing that blows my mind is you're sitting here in front of us and we're all really good friends. Like me and you were good friends.
Mhm.
You and my brother are really good friends. I feel like here's the crazy thing. If I don't really care about your political beliefs.
Mhm.
And I don't really think, I mean, you might not even know mine's like that, but like at the end of the day, like I don't really care.
Yeah.
Why? Like I don't really care. Like it's just, it's so disheartening to see. And this is going both on the left and the right, to see people on both sides, you know, say Christian, and then just use scripture as a weapon
To back it up.
to back whatever their political beliefs are.
Yeah.
And it's just so
I had
discouraging.
never seen a time where that was the case.
It's so discouraging
Like,
though, to
and
see
even
that.
in being younger, it was like it's never been like this potent in the church ever. And I'm just like, what is going on?
Right.
Like, why is this even a thing? Which I understand, political parties, all of that, blah blah blah. Okay, but it's just like now it's kind of like people's identities almost, and even like in the church, like a lot of people's like political views have been revealed, and it's exposing them into how like they really think and how they really feel about things, and which is fine. You're entitled to your own opinion and what you believe and stuff like that. But for me, being in the church, and we're all in the church together, and we're all being preached to and learning things and growing together. It's like I thought we all were on the same page as far as like life and growth and like our walk with God.
We're
and
all on the
like
same team.
Reaching the lost and
and
love.
it's just
team.
like I thought exactly. I
Same
thought
team.
at least when all this was going on, I could run to the church, and I had like a solid like, okay, even though this is going on, I know my church got my back. I know this and that, or whatever the case may be, which I do believe that's still true. But even I'm talking about more so like the congregation and the people that I do life with, I've done life
As
with
a
or served
whole,
with,
right.
like sat next to,
Yeah.
ministered to,
Laid-
got ministered to by,
Yeah, right.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
tit for tat, you pointed to me, I pointed to you, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I just may say hi to you. That's it. Like I'm around you.
Yeah.
You know,
Family.
I
Community.
and so it's just like for that reality to be like kind of crushed almost. It was just like, wow, like I don't
Yeah.
know anybody, you know, because like now your political view is your identity.
And the mistake is they compartmentalize God to being Democrat or Republican when he's
and it's
neither
like,
of
when
those
has that ever been a
things.
thing?
Here we go again. Here we go.
We
When has
ain't
that
gonna
ever
get
been a
off this
thing?
topic.
Round two.
We are
Fight.
this is three episodes in. We still talking about this, but
Because
yeah, we
it's
can't.
life now. Like,
But we
that's-
can't stop talking about this.
We
because it's
haven't we
true.
haven't progressed. We haven't elevated. We haven't like found a resolution for where we're at now. That's why it's always going to be a topic for a while because
Yeah.
there's no solution.
Right.
There hasn't been a solution. I don't want to say there's no solution.
There's a
hasn't
solution,
been a
but it hasn't
solution.
been like executed.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody's so like committed to wherever they stand versus like, okay.
And then from the outside looking in, here we go echoing the same
And
things.
it's like
nobody want to come
we're
through.
divided.
We're divided.
And
Why would you
nobody
want to
wants to
be a part of that?
when you have a house guest, that's literally like
A
having
house
guest.
divided against itself will not stand.
No, but no. Well, I was
Hello?
gonna say that's literally like having a house guest come into
Sick
your
it is.
house. You have your house. You have a guest coming into your home
Yeah.
with your family, and the house guest sees all the brothers and sisters fighting. They see all the aunties and uncles just gossiping and just doing. That's literally
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
You have someone that's coming in brand new, coming into your house, and they see the worst of everyone at the Christmas party. It's like, oh
I don't
Lord,
want to stay here.
Right.
yeah. Like, why would you want to stay there?
Right.
You know.
Like, if anything, we're supposed to be united. And I know it's like
But how can we do better? Is the real question. That's the real question.
I don't even know. Like it's a personal thing. It's a you thing. It's a heart thing. It's a love thing. Like I can't tell you how to treat people. You got to know
With
that for
decency and
yourself.
respect,
Like I can't. Like you cannot like treat people in any kind of way and then expect them to like, oh, but Jesus. But you forgot everything. You're the representation of Christ. And if you're any recollection of what Christ is, I don't want it.
Oh my God.
God, I love your word.
That's what
But-
I feel the mindset of people who are not saved or trying to be saved is. We're
Where
the
is the lie?
representation of Christ.
Word.
And you're perceiving Christ as somebody who's angry, judgmental, like belittles people, like
Disrespects.
rude, and then,
Harping on the mistakes of the past.
and that's a lot of people's
Whether it's
first,
last month, yesterday.
We're never gonna get off this topic.
no, because it's just
Come
like
on.
it happens all the time. And there's a lot of people that I know that have
I'm
left.
tired of this church.
Hello.
You got to plug that video in though.
No, for real. But yeah, it's the truth, and
It's
and
facts.
it's like, and I talk to them, and it's like, I don't know what to say to you because like if I were in your shoes, I would probably do the same thing, leave.
Wow.
But not a lot, like I said before, like not everybody's gonna have the same mindset as us, who is like, we're just gonna persevere and like just, you know, suck it up and push through it. They're gonna leave.
Yeah. I think that to resolve all this, though, it really goes to show, I've already said this before, but they know we follow Christ when we love one another. And it just goes back to that. It's the simple truth. It's the simple truth that we, as a church, we have to get it together.
You know, yeah, I can't, I have to second that.
Yeah.
But I hate to cut this off because, you know, we're running out of time and cameras are acting crazy, but I think we might have to revisit the subject, bro. We might have to bring you back on. We might have to do a part 2.
I'm with it, but because my man, you know,
we got to do part 2 on this.
Yeah, we just want to say thank you for really bringing insight, and even though it wasn't really like we could have went so many directions with it.
Yeah, we could have.
You know, the fact that you're being transparent and where you're at, it means a lot. So, on behalf of Collide Collective, me and my brother, we just want to say thanks.
And thank you to everyone watching. Once again, if you're watching on Facebook or watching on YouTube, like, share, and comment. Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star and a review. Spotify, give us a like and download or whatever. Thank you so much. And you know,
you have any last words, bro?
Yeah, you have any last words? Real quick, we got like 2 seconds. But.
Love God, love people. Amen.
Until then.
Glory.
But yeah, thank you everybody. Our next episode will be dropping September 28th. I'm sorry. Gonna be episode number 4.
Man.
September 28th.
Until then, y'all, it is all love. Thank y'all. Peace.